I've got the tank off, and interestingly, that is the sort of thing used in flat pack furniture, not on a Honda. I started taking off the airbox cover, and we've got one shouldered screw like I would expect, and then the rest are a mixture of odd Allen keys and one screw that isn't shouldered, and that's filthy, stinks of fuel of course, so that's in the bin. And as you can see, all of the clamps are lined up differently. And then we can see the reason why I've really taken this off. There's only one throttle cable, and there should be two. So next thing to note, the drain tubes, where do they go? Between here and here. I'm just dropping down to nowhere. I don't know if they're supposed to go somewhere. I think the carburetors are going to have to come off. And again, there's another pipe there. So there's that one. And there's that one. I don't know where they're supposed to go. Now my plan when it's like this is first of all is to try and clean all of this stuff, degrease it, clean it all up. It looks a bit dry, better in there, it just needs to dry off now. So we have the carbs on the bench, the tube off that filter box, it goes to there. These are the tubes that come off the vents from, not sure where, but they appear to hang freestyle. They've got clamps in different places. You're going to have to try and work out where they go. The drains at the bottom, I don't know if they should have anything on them or not, but they don't. Probably not. And then I need to check the rubber boots going in there. As we saw when the carb was in the frame, the choke or enrichment mechanism seems to work okay. It's just setting this bar, I think, a bit further up, is it? A bit further that way, so it catches earlier, I think. Not sure. I'll have to read up about that, where that should be set. And someone's painted the tops. I don't know if I've got the patience to clean those off and spray them up. Again, I don't know if that's standard, but Jap crossheads, Allen keys. I'll go away and have a think now. Project creep. I took the carbs off, and while they were off, I thought I'll just take one float chamber off, cover, and I can check the inside. I've just given it a squirt out, but it is clean. A bit of corrosion from years and years. And I was going to try and read the jets. You can see this one. This looks like it's been whacked up quite tightly. We've got the fuel feed that comes from the That's the fuel tap on the carburettor. There is a very crusty pipe that drains off the back of the car tank I need to replace. This is the petrol tank drain pipe, which is crumbling away. I've put a little bit of heat shrink over the end of it, just temporarily. Vent that comes off the centre of the carb should have a filter in there. It's only a little bit of foamy gauze, but so I've ordered some of that. I think I've already said this, but inside looks okay, or good enough. Outside, shoddy black on there. And while I'm in this deep, I might as well redo those. Right, so high temperature, silver enamel, came with the bike, used it on these. I took the opportunity just to spray up those two Allen keys as well that were very rusty. It won't stay like that on the enriching device. Not a performance upgrade, but it looks nicer than the tatty black, and that will do for the carbs. There's some interesting U-tubes of copper pipe being used there, which is not a bad idea. I've got a new fill filter. So, fuel pump sits on there, and then it implies there's another bracket for the fuel filter. And there's a lovely snapped off bit there, so I'm guessing it used to come across there. Alright, fuel comes out of the tank, through the U-bend, through the filter, out of the U-bend. Here's replaced the pipes with some new 10mm bore pipe, and same down here. Somebody'd already made up the 10mm copper tube bends. They don't do the fuel pipe that's preformed, and the neoprene hose, I forget the term, but basically that's cast, that's set. You can't heat it up and mould it. It's vulcanized, is it? I don't know if neoprene does get vulcanized, but it's set to its shape. So it's the thing. One thing you can do is shove a spring up the a form up the tube, so you can hold it in that shape. Otherwise, you've got to get the tubes moulded that shape. So I've replaced those. That I printed. I need to print a new one with the slot going the other way, so it can just slot onto the bracket off the fuel pump. And what I intend to try and do now is get the carbs back on. Just started to look at the choke cable. It was very loose, and it seems to have come loose from the tab that goes around the handlebar. So you have to take the whole switch off, which means taking the clutch lever off and the clutch bracket undone. I refuse to say perch. And this is what came out. I'm not putting that back in. So a new choke cable going to be on order. The choke cable fits into the lower part of the switch, and because the plastic's so brittle, that's come off. So a rag underneath in case of any leakages, which you can see are going down there, and it does seem to have run in. Probably shows up better when I'm actually looking at it than with the camera. I'm assuming it will shrink like the last lot, and because it's stuck to the thread, I don't know, with a little bit of heat on the end of the stud might release it if it does stick to the thread. 2 or 3 coats of the ABS gloop around that stud, filed down. Oh, still a bit thin round the top, but so much better than it was. That will do. The open and close cables have come from Wiimoto. They're the slinky ones. They're supposed to be good quality, but either I'm not doing something right, or they're not the same, because I cannot get the open one to get onto the bracket. It just seems too short, even though where are we going? Even though I have adjusted them so that they're as short as possible down here. New cable, old cable. I've set the cable stick out to the same at that end. Follow the old cable down. You can see the old cable is marginally longer there and quite a bit longer there. So it looks like temporarily I'm going to be using the old cable. I'm not sure why that would be. So I thought I'd set the bike up so when the carbs are back on I can do the carb balancing with my vacuum gauges. But it's taken me ages to find the takeoffs. So on the inner cylinders, they're not too bad. There's a screw on the outside of that one. There's a screw on the outside of that one. And then you'd think there'd be something similar around the outside of the inlet manifold at the back of the engine. Nice and easy. But no! They've shoved them right in there. Can you see it? Don't know if it's focusing. Just at the back of the cylinder head, right at the base of the inlet manifold. Complete sod to get to, especially when someone's put crash bungs on instead of the proper bolts. You have to read the book again. I can get those two balanced. I can get those two balanced. I can't get the two pairs balanced. Don't know what I'm doing wrong. Shut it down. Go and read. Leave it for another day. Well, that's been a job. First problem. One of the spark plug caps pulling on the HT lead, and the spark plug cap came off. And then I realised the HT lead was all green. So I bought some replacement caps, only to find that the ends that go over the spark plug are really finicky. I bought some replacement HT lead to replace all of it, hoping the spark would be better. Only to find, you can't even see them in there, but somewhere in there, I don't know if it'll catch it or not, one of the coils hiding underneath. Alright, there you are, and just see them underneath there. Just in there somewhere are the coils, buried so deep I couldn't get to them. So I've had to reroute these two HT leads so I could clip off the corroded bit, fit one new cap. Then putting on the airbox. First of all I put it on and I couldn't find the two machine screws that go in the top. So I've been through my box of bolts and found two that will fit, that are identical. They have little top hat washers again so the plastic isn't crushed. Then once I'd done that, I'd forgotten to put the breather hoses on that come up in the corners there and there. So I had to come off and do that. And then when I'd done that, I'd forgotten the other breather hose that comes off the top of the carburetors that goes through this box. And then when I was fitting this bracket, I wanted to see if I could fit all of the connectors that are supposed to go in there, and none of them fit in any of the holes, so I'm guessing that's why it's there. But at least I've got them around this clip here. There's a clip here, I have no idea what that's for, but I'll find out later. And then I have the new airbox to go in, which says top and an arrow for the front. I've just finished some machining on my lathe. The airbox lid is held on with these machine screws that have a spacer on them so you can't clamp the lid down too tightly. M5 times 0.8 thread. Fortunately, of the 6, there's only one like that. There's one, if you make it out, with a Phillips head, and the rest have all got Allen key cap heads, none with spacers. You can get them, but when I've looked them up, they're about £7 or £8 each, and as I need 6 of them, that's a bit excessive. So instead what I've done is bought some M5 button head Allen key by 20mm. They're slightly too long, hence the silver washer. So they've got a zinc washer, and then in nylon, because it's easy to do on my lathe, I've just turned up the spacers. So I now have 6 of those to use. Right, airbox back on. Screws with the top hats, all the spacers made. The little button-headed hex Allen key top, a little bit awkward because they're smaller than the Phillips would have been, but that's back on. Just need to run the wiring loom around there and then see if my new fuel pipe fits the tank after I've got the side covers and the tail cowl back on. Yet another oddity about my bike. So I bought this because all the parts books and all the things show the 2 snorkels for the air intake. Mine came with 1 air intake, nothing on the other side, and I thought it'd just be a simple swap. Don't know if I can tip the tank over without damaging it. But when I look at the underside of the tank, there is only the 1 cut out for a snorkel, not the other side. So I gain in fuel capacity and lose in air intake. Another fight to get the plastic in tray in place. I think my fuel pipe redoing is probably not quite right, but it's away from the shock and it fits. I didn't forgotten these bits get trapped by the side panels just over here. Right, fight to get the tank on. I think I need to try and warm the hose up to see if it'll slip on a little bit easier. Right, back together. And I've been for a run with it. Not far. I think I've done 7 miles. It runs all right. It's just very fluffy at low revs or tick over. And as I suspected, I don't think the idle jets are right. But like some of the other bits, that's going to be a job for next year. It's together, it starts, it runs, it will get me through the winter as my hack bike.